Eye contact. What do you think? Do you like it? Does it come naturally to you? If not, I'm willing to bet you're probably doing it wrong. I know I was completely missing the mark for quite some time, and I probably still do in many ways. But recently, I've been experimenting, and the results have really surprised me. Hi everyone, Paul Mikulev here from Autism From The Inside. I make weekly videos exploring neurodivergence and emotional intelligence, so make sure you hit subscribe to get the latest content. So it's a well-known thing that lots of people in the autistic community do not like eye contact. Many of us feel like it's a little bit too intense. It feels like something is being demanded of me and that I'm supposed to know what it means, and there's this communication that I'm not really understanding, and if I don't look back in the right way or move my face in the right way or respond to the right tiny little cues, then I'm going to put someone off, and all of that is just really vulnerable and intimate and intimidating, and I just don't feel comfortable doing that with most people most of the time. We're also taught that when you listen to someone, you're supposed to look them in the eye. And for me, that has never worked, because if I focus my eyes on someone else, then it's a lot less likely that I'll be able to actually pay attention to the sounds that they're making with their mouth. In general, I personally have tried to avoid eye contact wherever possible, wherever I could get away with it, wherever I could find an alternate way of doing things, I would probably pick that path instead of trying to do what I thought I was supposed to do and look people in the eye. But what I've realized recently is that this strategy, tendency, whatever you want to call it, has had some pretty big consequences that I wasn't fully aware of. So today I'll go through a couple of the things that I've learned recently with my experiments around making eye contact. And then I'll also share the reason why it works and what eye contact is actually all about, which I never knew because I was always just taught to follow the social script and they never told me why. And also there's the next step of, if you find it challenging to follow the social script, what can you do about it? How can you find a strategy that still works and still gets all the benefits of eye contact without having to do something that is inherently uncomfortable? So the first thing that I didn't fully realize until recently is that people make eye contact before interacting with you to test if you're happy for them to interact with you. I recently did an authentic relating workshop, which is essentially a whole bunch of different little exercises that you do with a partner that is kind of designed to just connect in a very authentic way. And one of the things that I really liked about this workshop is how you picked a partner. There was essentially, 15, 20 people in a room, and we all just walked around, and you would essentially proposition someone by looking at them. And if they accepted, they were like, great, we're going to do this next little 2-minute exercise together. And if they looked away, then you kept walking around until you found someone that you did match with. It was actually really easy and intuitive. And when I looked at someone and they clearly just did not look back, that was a very, very clear sign that they did not feel comfortable working with me. And similarly, when I looked at someone and they looked back and we both had a, yep, okay, let's sit down and do this exercise together vibe, then that also was very, very quick and very easy. And this completely melted my brain, because previously I would try not to give too much eye contact. Like I would give a little bit and then I would look away. And I think I'm just trying to process it as I'm speaking now. I'm pretty sure that has in the past given people the impression that I am not open to interact with them when actually I am. I just am not very comfortable with eye contact. I remember a time fairly recently, I was at a gathering with a reasonable number of people. I was having a one-on-one conversation and someone I know came up to me and I looked at them and I said hi, and then I looked back to my conversation and they went, oh, and kept walking and did not say hi. So clearly, the breaking off of eye contact in a certain way signals to a lot of people that you're not open to approach at this stage. So when I was just starting to get my head around this, the biggest question I was asking myself is, what would it be like? What would it feel like for me to just hold, especially a stranger's gaze, for just like 1 or 2 seconds more? And my first answer is that would be extremely uncomfortable and terrifying, and I don't want to do it. But that's essentially what I've been practicing recently, just randomly. And one of the things that I've noticed is that the reason I was so uncomfortable doing it before partly was because I didn't know what to do and I wasn't comfortable knowing exactly what I was doing. The reason eye contact is uncomfortable is because there is a communication exchange there. And if you don't speak the language, you're like, great, you're asking. It's like I don't feel comfortable talking in a second language sometimes because I'm a bit anxious that I won't understand what they say. And then I'll say, sorry, English, maybe. And it's similar with eye contact. But I found a script that I can use. And that is essentially, what am I communicating with my eyes? I'm going to communicate, hi, I'm friendly, that's it. And because I had this script very, very similar to scripting with words in a social exchange where you're expected to say something, it meant that it was accessible for me and I could test it out and see how people responded. And what I found is a lot of people look away and aren't interested and don't want to interact with me at all, but some people do. And I've classified those people as friendly in my brain, or at least friendly to me. And what that indicates is that they are open for me to interact. Considering in the past, I would just say hi to someone and wonder why they weren't friendly to me. Now I have a way of testing in advance if someone is likely to respond positively to me talking to them. And this goes for friends as well. Just because I know someone doesn't mean they want to talk to me right now necessarily. Maybe they are in conversation with someone else and they'd prefer not to be interrupted. If they don't give me that sign that they're happy for me to come and interact with them, then that is going to essentially save me the awkwardness of trying to say hi and it not really working very well. And one of the big differences for me as a result of this experiment that I've been running is I'm a lot less scared of accidentally making eye contact. I think previously, because that was not a good situation and I definitely did not want to accidentally make eye contact with someone because that would be awkward, I would naturally avoid eye contact in advance. And that would mean that if I did accidentally make eye contact, I wasn't prepared for it and it would freak me out and I don't know how the other person would interpret that. Whereas if I'm deliberately looking around the room and most people are ignoring me, for example, they're busy doing something else, then I am prepared and it's a lot easier. And if someone does happen to look up or look back, then I know what I'm communicating in that moment and I don't have to be scared of it. Does that make sense? Now, all this is well and good, I guess, And you might think, oh, well, great. So you like eye contact now, everyone's happy. But actually, my fundamental stance towards the whole thing hasn't changed at all. I still employ a number of very considered strategies to avoid most eye contact most of the time. So, a very, very simple strategy is, instead of standing face to face with someone, if I just stand just a tiny little bit on the side, it's more like we're standing shoulder to shoulder. And that way we can both be looking in the same direction and we can both be talking, and there's a lot less expectation to actually look at each other's eyes. And similarly, sunglasses are fantastic. I mean, not only do they help me with the light in general, but they also mean that I can rest my eyes whenever I want, or look around or think or do whatever I want with my eyes, and it will not be weird for the other person, because they will see mostly I'm still facing them. I'm still going, yes, I'm here, I'm listening to you. Except if I want to do that with my eyes shut, or if I want to like stretch them or look around, it doesn't have a perceived effect on the other person. And because I'm so free to do that, I'm also free to look back, which is part of my experimentation. How does it feel to return someone's gaze like that? Like, what am I looking for? What is that experience like? And this is a really strong strategy for learning how to do anything and desensitizing with anything, really. And that is finding a way to do the hard thing on your own terms, where you don't have to. You can challenge yourself as much or as little as you want, and it's a completely safe environment, and you know that nothing bad's going to happen. So while I may have a natural aversion to eye contact, I find it very intimate and don't really like it for most people. But because of that, I also had this other layer of not being used to it, not feeling comfortable doing it. And it was just this huge unknown that would cause anxiety in advance. So I would avoid it in advance, which is a self-fulfilling cycle, because the more I avoid it, the less I know it. The more scary it is, the more I avoid it. And here's the thing about the challenge by choice desensitization. If it's not your choice, and if you're thinking, I have to do this, quick, don't look away, okay, look here, count for 3 seconds, all of that kind of stuff doesn't allow your nervous system to relax and ask yourself the question, how do I actually feel in this interaction? If I'm pushing myself to do something I'm not comfortable doing, I'm not actually teaching my body how to be comfortable with it. I'm teaching it how to do it anyway, even though it's not comfortable, and ignore all those signals of discomfort. Now, by taking the matter back into my own hands and experimenting on my own terms, I can decide if and when I want to use this eye contact strategy, which is extremely powerful in terms of communication. And now I have another tool in my toolbox which I can use sometimes. Our faces are possibly the most expressive part of the body that we have. My understanding is it has a very large number of muscles which are essentially for the purpose of communication. I feel like I'm learning a second language. And yes, it's a bit awkward, and yes, it's a bit scary, but it's also really powerful to be developing such an efficient way to communicate. If you'd asked me a couple of years ago, I would have said it's ambiguous, and using more words to describe what you actually mean would be a lot clearer. But actually, if you can be on the same page with someone, which is absolutely not a guarantee, then using eye contact and very basic facial expressions in general can be an extremely quick, efficient, deep way to communicate a lot of information very quickly. Okay, you can tell I'm quite excited about this. One last thing before we finish up. One of the things I've always struggled with is trying to pick in advance if someone is open to talking to me, if someone is likely to be friendly, if I can say hello, or whether saying hello is just going to be awkward. So with this new tool, I can essentially get an answer to the, hey, are you open for me to come over and say hi question from the other side of the room. And if the answer happens to be no, it's a lot clearer and a lot less awkward to manage compared to, hey, can I say hi? No, please leave. Okay, well, maybe we should leave it there. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this video. Is that something, experimenting with eye contact, something that you might consider doing? It's definitely been fun for me experimenting with that recently. So if you do as well, I'll be curious to hear what you think. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.